Welcome to Kicked Back, a home for football fans that want to stay up to date on everything going on in the football world. Join Caroline, Liam, and some special guests along the way as they talk about all the trending news around leagues, players, teams, and much more. Now, all you gotta do is get comfortable and kick back, because we're about to get started. What's up, Kicked Back listeners? We're here for episode 3, and Caroline and Liam here with you. Liam, what's poppin'?
Not much. I made a bit of an issue this morning with myself when I had my morning coffee.
What'd you do?
I like my coffees with a little bit of flavor.
Yeah, me too.
And today when I was in the drive-thru, the lady goes to me, I order my coffee and she goes, "Do you want an espresso shot with that?" And I was like, I've never done that before. So I thought, yeah, I'll do that. So I got it. And I thought, this will kind of give me a kick in the butt.
Yeah, because we're on Kicked Back.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that's what I needed. So I started drinking this coffee and I'm like, this is terrible.
Just the taste.
It was horrible.
Oh, no.
I couldn't stand it at all. So I suffered my way through this coffee, which was supposed to give me some life, and it just made me a little bit upset about my decision to start the day. So I'm fine. I'll get through it, but that's how I'm okay.
I think one of the worst things is when you're really excited about a meal or a drink and you try something new and it does not even come close to your expectations and it's a letdown. I understand that. 100%. And I think it's a very underrated feeling.
Yes, definitely. So actually, this brings back a little football story I have actually.
Yes, let's start the episode off with a story. I love it.
So in England, when you order a pizza, you say, "Can I have a cheese and tomato pizza?"
Okay.
And it just means a cheese pizza, but you get the tomato sauce.
Okay. Underneath it, that remains the same. Okay.
Like every pizza has it.
Okay.
But in England, you ask for it. So, so when I first moved here originally in 2007, I was at Boston Pizza for my birthday. Actually, AC Milan were playing in the Champions League semi-final. I believe it was against United.
Okay.
So I'm watching this game with my dad in Boston Pizza and my sister and my mum. And I say to the lady, I was like, "Can I have a cheese and tomato pizza?" She's like, "Yep, no problem." So I don't like tomatoes.
They put tomatoes all over that bad boy.
Chunks. So many chunks. And I just sat there the entire time just picking them off. But they weren't like big circles. They were literally like little
chunks,
diced.
Hey?
And I was like, oh man, this was a mistake.
That's
little 11-year-old Liam made.
I feel like you need to make a little handbook for us North Americans if they ever want to venture over to England.
Yeah, what
not to do and how to order. Because for example, I probably would just order a cheese. I love cheese pizza.
And I think it's the dough.
It's the goat of all. Just, less is more sometimes.
I agree. And you know what I do? I get extra cheese on my cheese pizza.
I get easy cheese. I'm the opposite.
Oh, okay.
Try that one day. Because I used to be an extra cheese kind of girl. Then I got married and my husband loves easy cheese.
Okay.
And I love it. And now I'm like, that's my go-to. And I also soak my pizza in ranch.
I do that too.
Do you?
But only when I go to Blaze.
Blaze, okay.
Yeah. But there you go. There's
maybe Pizza 73 will sponsor our podcast here in a second. Okay, let's talk football. We were just saying off camera, guys, that watching the Super Cup final, it was a treat because we get to watch and take notes at the same time and look forward to the fact that we get to talk football the next day, and what a treat that is for us. So for those football fans who weren't able to watch it, Liam and I have you covered. And yeah, Liam, let's just start off with the fact that Real Madrid is picking up right where they left off from last season and arguably the best club in the world.
Yeah, I mean, there's just talent all over the field. Like it's kind of crazy. They didn't make any massive signings this summer. Like they got the French kid who we'll talk about shortly. But besides that, like the team is also almost so good. Like even Rudiger couldn't get into the team this time, and they're just such a fun team to watch. Just whatever way you like to watch the game, like going forward when you have Benzema and Vinicius Jr. down there, just said their chemistry is so good. The midfield three, which we're going to talk about, and like the future coming off the bench, just the utter domination. Like it almost felt like and everybody obviously knew this, they were going to win the game before the ball had even been kicked, and they kind of nonchalantly won the game, I guess, in a way. I
love that you say that. I feel like Real Madrid at times plays this slow burn football.
100%.
And then all of a sudden, because I don't want to take anything away from Frankfurt, because I do think that they tried. They played aggressive. They came into the game trying to bring the competition to Real Madrid, but there's just something about the style that Real Madrid has. It's not fancy and flashy football, but they are a well-oiled machine that when they stick to their game plan, when they execute that game plan, and when they stick to what they know and they're the best at the world at, they're unstoppable. And that's exactly what Frankfurt faced.
Yeah, and we even saw in the Champions League last year, like against Chelsea and then against Manchester City as well. Like, you can't take a second off.
Can't.
Because they will just capitalize. It doesn't matter what the score is. Like, they will find a way, and it just makes them a different beast compared to the other teams. And I was thinking about it whilst I was watching. I was like, okay, who's going to compete with them for the Champions League? Probably City, I would assume.
Yeah. Depending
on how things go. Like, I watched the PSG game against Clermont the other day, and it's different because it's not attacked. Clermont weren't as good, obviously, but like, they'll probably compete. But I keep thinking, it's like, but Real Madrid just know. They just know how to do it, and it's the same guys every year that are just winning it.
Well, that Super Cup title was their 5th win, which now ties them with record holders AC Milan and Barcelona. And when you think about it, we saw that exact same starting 11 in the Champions League final that we did in the Super Cup final.
I actually liked how both managers did that, because I believe it was the same one for Frankfurt too, which just shows like the respect of like, hey, you won it, now go do it again.
Exactly, and I love that about Real Madrid. I also love that from Ancelotti, because he knows he has probably the best core group of guys that when he puts that starting 11 on the pitch, they are going to get the job done. Now, Frankfurt is coming off of that 6-1 blowout from Bayern. So I wonder if they entered the match with almost that stigma of, okay, we have something to prove, and maybe not as confident, where Real Madrid is literally coming off of an unbelievable season. And like I said at the beginning of our show, picking up right where they left off.
Yeah. And I think on the Frankfurt end of things, they probably thought too, like, okay, like, this can't get worse.
Yeah.
You know, like,
it's true.
It was tough for them last week against Bayern Munich. Like, and I think especially disappointing after the success about winning the Europa League, and now you have the Champions League to look forward to lose 6-1. I think they had a bit of like, okay, we do belong in this game.
Yeah.
And they played well. They had the first chance of the game, which they should have scored on. Kamada, I believe his name was, their midfielder, played a good game.
Yeah, we liked him.
Yeah. They did well on that one, but then it just seemed like after that was pretty early in the game, I believe 10 to 15 minutes in, like it was kind of a bit of a wake-up call from Madrid, being like, okay, now we'll have a go. And like Vinicius Jr. had a shot played off the line.
They're like, okay, now it's time to get serious. Two things. I mean, one, if Frankfurt would have scored that goal, I feel like the game could have changed.
Yeah, definitely.
Second thing, the one thing that I loved about Real Madrid when Frankfurt tried to press and maybe try and get into the attacking third, Real Madrid was so good at shutting it down quickly defensively and then connecting that first pass when they won the ball defensively. They are so systematic and they excel at that system. I mean, to me, it's just such a joy to watch because, again, we love to watch to the teams that, of course, are super technical and fancy and flashy. Barcelona back in the day was a team that I loved to watch that played that style of football. But watching Real Madrid just play quick one-touch football, and we'll go into the conversation of Benzema in a second, but watching him and Vini Jr. play together and that connection that they have, just playing quickly with speed, power, and efficiency, when those two can catch a back line off guard, there's no chance. And we saw that even with a nice quick give and go against Frankfurt. There was a play where I was just like, I think Vini Jr. played it into Benzema and Benzema spun off of his defender, or maybe it was vice versa. And I was just like, that it's just textbook, and it's such a joy to watch because it's not easy to do, but Real Madrid and some of their core players make it so easy.
We were texting about this yesterday too, and I said to you, it's disappointing that Benzema's so old.
Yes.
Because now 34. We don't get to see this for the next 10 years. It's like, this would have been great. Like, they could have probably gone down as like one of the best duos that ever played together, but like, they probably still will be regarded in that category, but I think they'll always be an honorable mention. Unless, of course, they go win like another 2 or 3 Champions Leagues together, and they'll obviously go up. But it's so fun. And Vini Jr. is so electrifying.
Right.
Like, I every time he gets into space, like, it's just like, okay, like, what's he going to do now? And I feel like he's got so much better at his execution as well. And like, I remember watching him a couple of years ago, and just kind of one of ththose Brazilian guys who does all these step-overs and everything. I was like, okay, but what's happening when you're doing all this? And now it's like, okay, every time he gets the ball, it's like, okay, well, this could create a chance here. And
I just feel like between him and Benzema, Vini Jr. has that capability of doing the step-overs and getting a little bit more creative on the ball, where Benzema's just a clinical finisher.
Direct, yeah.
Right? And I think the balance between the two is what makes them so good. And I made a TikTok the other day on the 90th minute. If you guys haven't followed the 90th minute on TikTok and all social media platforms, please go do so. But I mentioned some of the best duos we're going to see this season, KDB and Haaland, and then maybe Pedri and Lewandowski if Barcelona get their ducks in a row. But yeah, Vini Jr. and Benzema are in that conversation. And I just feel like they haven't skipped a beat.
Yeah, and La Liga starts this weekend. I'm going to watch a lot more La Liga than I think I have in the past. Like, I'm excited.
Yep.
And I think a reason why I maybe didn't watch it as much is Barcelona's drop-off, I guess. Like, Messi's not there now. And, like, and they might even have a bigger drop-off this year, like you said, if they can't sign anybody.
I hope not.
But it's an exciting time, I think, for the bigger teams. Like, the Champions League now is going to be very competitive with the teams we listed before. And, like, should we talk about the goals quickly? Like, I feel like that was just the first goal. So it was just pure like, okay, we've broken them down, Now they've shut off for a second. Now there's a goal. Like, great play by Casemiro just to put that back across to Alaba.
So good.
Yeah, he was. Should we talk about him quickly?
You know what? Let's talk about him. We have the whole midfield as a conversation in our show because Real Madrid's trio is unbelievable. But Casemiro, he just does all the dirty work and gets that ball, plays that ball, gets his head up, and is a very smart footballer. And I think that he's almost, in a sense, I know that Tchouaméni, we'll talk about him in a second, he's essentially probably going to be built to take on Casemiro's role, but I don't think Casemiro is replaceable. He just does so much hard, dirty work for Real Madrid. Yeah,
and he's, like you said, he's so different. He allows Modric and Toni Kroos to be free and do what they do and that's what makes that trio so special. He's essentially the Busquets to what Iniesta and Xavi had forever, and that trio is just it was cool watching them yesterday. They move so in sync together, like they're just all on the same wavelength. They know exactly where they need to be, and like the next two guys, Tchouaméni and Camavinga, like they're going to be taught that exact one because they'll probably be the replacements for Kroos and Modric eventually, and it'll still be Casemiro there. So those two are exciting players, and I don't even know what else to say about them. It's just so good to watch.
Casemiro to me is like that quarterback, right? Does a lot of that dirty work. Kroos is just a phenomenal passer. And then you got Modric, who's in the conversation as being one of the best midfielders of all time. They mentioned it in the broadcast, if you're watching the game, how he is the best player in the world to play the ball with the outside of his foot. And that's a hard skill to attain as a footballer, to be able to do that. And we saw, I think it was in the Champions League against Chelsea, if my memory serves me correctly, where he found Benzema in the box with that outside of his foot.
I think that was at Stamford Bridge, I think, right?
It was incredible. So then you have these three guys all excelling in different areas of the game, and you put them together, and they make the best midfield trio, in my opinion, in football right now. And we can compare them to others of the past. I mean, obviously, the first thing that comes to anyone's mind, if they've watched football, is Iniesta, Xavi, and Busquets. For me personally, it was Seedorf, Gattuso, and Pirlo, which is also crazy because Ancelotti coached them. Manager of that team, I'm watching the game and I'm laughing to myself. I'm like, it's got to be Christmas morning every single day for Ancelotti, knowing that he has those guys in the midfield. And then also at AC Milan, where he had so much success, he had Seedorf, Pirlo, and Gattuso, because that was an iconic midfield in itself.
It's funny because you have to imagine Ancelotti managing those three guys has benefited this next three. Like, of course. There's got to be some similarities there that he's taught them and like helped them progress, and like that's why they're so successful. Like we saw the same success of AC Milan, not as many Champions Leagues and all that stuff, but Ancelotti has just been so fortunate to manage the teams he has, but also they've been fortunate to have him.
Love that point. I totally agree with that. I actually have that written exactly in my notes, that Tchouaméni and Camavinga and any of the other youth players that are in the Real Madrid camp right now are fortunate to have Ancelotti as the manager, because, of course, like I said, Ancelotti will put the best starting 11 on the pitch and his core guys, but he will also take time to develop this young talent and get them ready for that role when it comes time to be that starting 11 for Real Madrid. And, you know, I don't think that there is a better manager to kind of balance the weight of all that. I know a lot of fans were wishing that Tchouaméni and Camavinga had some more time in the Frankfurt game.
I was looking forward to seeing Tchouaméni play a little bit more, but
I think that'll come. I think that'll come with Ancelotti. I think he also wanted to get another Super Cup title under his belt, which I don't blame him. Be a little selfish because that was his 4th Super Cup final win, which he was the first manager to do that. So
to win 4?
Yeah. First manager to win 4 UEFA Super Cup finals. First manager to win 4 Champions League finals. First manager to win a league title in each of Europe's top 5 divisions. I mean,
it's wild, isn't it?
It is wild. And to me, I think that there's a lot of respect for Carlo Ancelotti, but when you sometimes talk about the conversation of the best managers, for me, at least in my opinion, he's kind of forgotten about. And I don't know why.
Yeah, because I think when people think about it, it's like Ferguson.
Yes, for sure.
Pep Guardiola, and then like there's a couple other guys and like
Klopp, Mourinho.
Yeah, Mourinho. Yeah, he's another one that's kind of like fading away a little bit now, and he just won another trophy.
I know
with Roma.
We have to do an episode on Serie A.
Yeah.
We need to give Serie A some respect because Liam and I were saying it's up and coming again, and Mourinho. Roma fans love him, and he's done a lot of great things with Roma. So we've got to maybe dedicate an episode to Serie A.
Yeah, well, they kick off this weekend, so maybe even on Tuesday or Thursday we can dive into it. And like you said, there's so many good teams now. Like both Milan teams are relevant again, which is great. Juventus, Napoli, Lazio, Roma, like Atalanta. There's 7 teams right there. I think that's half the league, to be honest. Like it's good to see because I remember when I was growing up, like we kind of spoke about it on the first episode. Like Serie A was
dominant.
It was it was right up there with the Premier League for sure, and like they were winning Champions Leagues and like Inter Milan's Mourinho team and stuff like that, and you know, and it's good to see them get back to that level. What were we up to? Yes, Ancelotti.
Do you know that he's going to cheer for Canada in the World Cup?
Because isn't his wife Canadian?
Yeah, right. I believe his wife is from British Columbia, and he said since Italy's not at the World Cup, he'll be there in a Canada jersey.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we love him even more.
Yes, we have to.
Yeah, it's like major props to him. I mean, one of the greatest of all time is repping Canada hard, which I love.
Yeah, it was funny when I was looking through Ancelotti. Like you look at all the teams he's managed, and then it's like PSG, AC Milan, Napoli, Everton. It's the most. I kind of forget he was there for 2 years, and then he got hired by Real Madrid. Like it's just the most random kind of like, oh yeah, like where can we get our next manager from? It's like, oh, what's the Everton manager doing? It's like obviously it's Ancelotti, but it's just something you wouldn't expect.
He flies under the radar. I don't know what it is about him. He to me is one of the most iconic managers for always having that resting B face.
And when he raises his eyebrow,
he has a little bit of the RBF. And I say that respectfully because I love him, but I think that it's also, I feel like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
these guys know what they're doing.
Yeah,
it's all a part of the shtick.
It's actually funny. So I couldn't believe a stat, honestly, when I looked through, and it makes sense because Real Madrid cares so much about the Champions League. Real Madrid haven't won a back-to-back La Liga title so they won in 2007 and then they won again in 2008, and that was the last time. That's
crazy to me.
It is.
Considering the success that they have.
Yeah, and they're regarded as one of the best teams in the world every single year, but they only win their domestic league like every other year. Which crazy. I guess like that's what happens when you play Barcelona in your league every year. But before that, it was 1985 to 1990, they won 5 straight. And like that was the gap between back-to-back titles. So I think this year, like, he can really, really cement his legacy if he's able to beat this new look Barcelona team with Lewandowski and Kessie. And it's La Liga is going to be fun this year because I feel like there's the 2 teams at the top, Barcelona and Real Madrid, and then there's the other teams like Sevilla, Atletico Madrid, Real Betis, Real Sociedad. Like there's 4 teams right there that are going to be competing for Champions League. And then you also have like Valencia, maybe it'll be okay, and then Villarreal too, who went all the way to the semifinals of the Champions League. They're not even in the conversation in La Liga. So I think the big thing for Ancelotti and Real Madrid this year is securing that next La Liga title, just to prove like, hey, like we are the best team in Spain, and it doesn't matter if Barcelona go out and buy the world. Like we are the best team in Spain.
I think that's a great point, Liam, because we already know they're the kings of Champions League. They own the Champions League. If you look at the statistics and how many how many finals they've gone to and how many finals they've won, they own it. It's a great point with Barcelona. If they can get their signings registered, you know, one of my favorite duos to look forward to is Pedri and Lewandowski. You know, what they can do there. And I think that they can bring the heat to Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
The question is there a team to corrupt and maybe stop that systematic powerhouse that they have in terms of their game? Because when they are, like I said, when their core group is locked and loaded, they are a well-oiled machine that I don't think any club in the world can compete with. So there needs to be a coach that comes in and has a game plan to stop that. Yeah. But it's also interesting with Real Madrid, like we were speaking to, you might think at the beginning of the game they've kind of taken their foot off the pedal. And then when something happens, they capitalized.
It's almost, they just wait, you know?
It's so interesting you say. Yeah. I agree. It's like patient and then, all right, we're going to destroy you.
I think it's a sign of belief. Is a big thing. Is like they know what they're capable of. They know they don't care if they're down 2-0. Like they'll come back and just win 3-2 in the second half.
Hey Benzema, we need 2 goals.
Yeah, and they'll figure it out. Here's a question. Yeah. So Benzema became the second all-time goal scorer at Real Madrid yesterday.
Passing Raul.
So Ronaldo is 450 all-time in 438 games, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. Benzema is 324. But in the league, Ronaldo is 311.
Okay.
And Benzema is third in the league with 219. He's going to pass Raul, who at 228.
Okay.
Do you think by the time his time is done in Real Madrid, Benzema will be the all-time league scorer for Real
Remind
Madrid?
me of Ronaldo's number in the league?
311. Benzema has 219.
It's almost basically 100 goals.
It's about 100 goals. So he'll probably need 3.5 seasons, 4, and he's 34. Wow. It's going to be tight.
But okay, so let's look at this stat. Benzema registered a goal or assist every 89 minutes last season. So when you, like, that's absurd. that is crazy. Actually absurd. So when you think about that, if this guy can stay healthy, obviously he's aging. His body's going to start, wearing down a little, maybe giving up, but maybe not because he's one of the best footballers in the world. So I know that their recovery and the people they have around them are elite. So I would say that he does it.
I think it's going to be extremely tight. I think this is kind of the storyline. So he'll get close. I think he'll have 30 this year. And then people will start talking about it a bit more. And then there'll be a bit more momentum behind it. And I got a feeling I think he'll get it, but I think it'll be really tight being like, hey, like, I'm done. And I'm 15 goals away or something like that. Like, this is my last season. I'm going to push for it.
I feel like
that's kind of a way I feel like it could go.
We again, it's such a shame because we're seeing Benzema at the peak of his career at 34 years old. I wish we had a few more years of this, but maybe that in itself is just extremely motivating for him. Mm-hmm. We saw the dominance he had in the last Champions League season, 15 goals and 12 appearances in Champions League, and those hat-tricks against PSG and Chelsea. Like that's not normal, and that's on one of the biggest stages. Yeah. Big players show up in big moments, and Benzema has been doing that as of late. So I wonder if he just keeps that momentum going, and he's a guy that we see excel in the later years of his career. I mean, even that that penalty kick he took in Champions League, to do that on that stage.
Confidence is high.
Confidence.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering, if his mentality is just ice cold right now. And he has something to prove, but I wonder if people are like, he's old, he's getting old, he's not going to do it. Cristiano Ronaldo is going to have the record or whatever. He's just like, okay, I'm going to cruise my way into this.
An interesting thing I found, because I was going to do a little bit of math here, and unfortunately for everybody at home, I didn't do it.
Math?
I wanted to know how many goals Benzema scored off the back of a Ronaldo assist.
Oh God, good for you.
I didn't do it.
Y equals MX plus B. That's all I can tell you. Slope.
I looked at it and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So anyway, I just did something else. So Benzema only scored 20 goals with Ronaldo in the team once. It only happened one time, and it was 2011 and 2012 when Real Madrid won the league. He started in 26 of those games, played 34. Since Ronaldo left, he's had 20 or more goals in the 4 season stream. It's weird because obviously everybody benefits from playing with Ronaldo, especially when he was in his prime. Maybe not so much at the moment. I am so curious to know, if Ronaldo had gone a season or two before, where would Benzema be, on the world map? right now, yes, he's regarded as like he's probably going to win the Ballon d'Or.
Oh my God, if he doesn't, I'm going to riot.
Then something went wrong. It's interesting to think is like, did he benefit that much from playing with Ronaldo? And like the team was obviously different, and he was centered around Ronaldo, and now it's centered around Benzema. But it's interesting to think about, I think, because when he went to Real Madrid, he was like a young guy from Ligue 1. He was scoring all these goals for Lyon, and now I'm not saying he had a bad time at Real Madrid. Like he 24 goal. He scored 20 or more twice. But again, he was just kind of in the teens most of the time.
I always say this. Sometimes having too many superstars and too many egos on a team doesn't necessarily work out for the team or work out for an individual player. Maybe Benzema had the ability to be the guy all the time, but when Ronaldo's on your team, who's in the conversation as the greatest of all time, maybe it's a tough act to play against day in and day out. And now he has that ability to be in the conversation for the Ballon d'Or, in the conversation for one of the best number 9s in the world, and right now maybe even the best footballer when he's doing all that he's doing in Champions League, in La Liga, and now we can see the potential with France in the World Cup.
It's funny because he, like we said, like he's one of the best, probably win Ballon d'Or, but he feels so quiet. Like you never really hear about him. Like he scores these goals and it feels like another day. It's like, oh, he did it. And like Lewandowski is kind of the same, but like you get like these other guys, and I feel like his goals are never like highlight reel.
I know.
Like he just does the job. And that's what you want your striker to do. He's almost like an old-fashioned striker where he just puts the ball in the net and goes back to the halfway line and tries to do it all again.
That's what I love about him and Vini Jr. too, going back to those guys. I think that they're just having fun together. There's, Ronaldo has that aggressive like power move after he scores. And I just think the Sue. I just think that Benzema, when he scores a goal, he's just happy. And I don't necessarily think he goes home. I don't know him by any means, guys. This is just a speculation. I don't know if he goes home and he's like, okay, that's another check mark in the Ballon d'Or comment. I think he's just like, okay, I'm 34 years old. I'm peaking at a later year in my career and I'm playing the best football I've ever have. So I'm just going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's how I would approach it.
For some reason, when you said that, have you ever seen the Twitter account that was like boring James Milner?
No.
It's just like, great game today, went home, had a coffee, went to bed, see you all in the morning.
That's
it's
hilarious.
Like tweets like that. And that's some reason I just imagine like Benzema going home to like a very regular life.
Right?
And like he doesn't have this massive house. He
makes his herbal tea.
Yeah. And he's just like tucks in and watches like the OC or something like that.
Right. Has Werther's Original on the couch next to him. We should start a boring Benzema account.
Wakes up in the morning, walks his Yorkshire Terrier around the block, and then goes home and gets to practice on time. Nothing crazy.
One last thing I want to say about Benzema. I think that there's a lot of reasons why he is where he is right now in his career. I think that he's matured as a footballer and his experience has obviously grown and the quality of what he does is world class. But he has this ability that in a split second, he can adjust himself to be in a proper position to hit a ball, to score a goal, to make the pass. And that's something you can't teach. That's like just Benzema's skill set and talent set. In his pass, in his goal with Vini Jr.'s assist to him against Frankfurt, if you watch, there's a split second where he kind of moves his body back or changes the direction of his, I don't know how to say it properly, but he kind of does like a shuffle step to properly adjust his body to hit that ball at the right time and the right place of the ball. And when you watch that as someone who's played, I'm like, this guy is so aware of everything around him. The timing of his run, the positioning of his body, the contact that he makes with the ball. It's what makes him next level. And that's why I am the number one. I'm the president of the Benzema to win Ballon d'Or club, maybe the CEO at this point. To me, there's no competition. I know a lot of other fans are going to hit me with Messi, Lewandowski. Trust me, I'm also a very big Lewandowski fan, but it's a lock for Benzema. And if he doesn't win it come October, it's very clear that this entire process is rigged. I think it's already clear with Leva being robbed once or twice, but even Messi's agreeing that there's no debate.
I don't think it's close. Like, I would have loved to have seen Lewandowski finally get one and just kind of put the haters away. But like you said, Champions League winner, La Liga winner, 27 goals in La Liga, most of his career at 33, 12 assists on the season, tied for most of his career. He deserves it. I don't think there's a conversation, but I will fire you with this quick question on Real Madrid. Do you think they'll win the league first?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to put my vote in, yes.
And second one, I feel like I already know the answer. Are they your favorite to win the Champions League again this season? Or do you see somebody else coming in? And if so, who?
You know what? Based on last season, based on their performance against Frankfurt, I'm not betting against a team that is so skillful but plays so efficiently. I think that's the word for Real Madrid. They're so efficient. One-touch football, quick, powerful, skillful, works as a unit. The best midfield in the world right now. I'm never betting against a team with an exceptional midfield because that is the core of your team. I say they win La Liga. I say they win Champions League. And I think Carlo Ancelotti freaking cements his legacy at that point.
Yeah, I'm on the Champions League. The La Liga train because I just think Barcelona's a shambles and I don't want them to win. And secondly, for the Champions League, I honestly think it's City's year.
I
think it is. It feels like, and like they had Aguero obviously, but this team's better now than it was back then with Aguero, and now they have Haaland. I got that feeling that it's like, okay, they're gonna do it, and just the way they played against West Ham on Sunday, it felt like dominance.
Well, last podcast episode, I said that City's gonna have a really good run in the Champions League. I definitely think that they are up there to compete for the Champions League. It would just be such a treat as a football fan and us, Liam, who get to talk about the game, to watch De Bruyne and Haaland and then Vini Jr. and Benzema, potentially, those two duos we've been talking about all episode long, play each other.
I would love to see them play in the final.
Yeah.
I would love to see, and this is my favorite thing about sports, is when the underdog, which would be City, like slay the dragon in Real Madrid. Like, I love seeing that, and like that's how you kind of take it over. That's how you overcome all your haters, and it's like, okay, well, we beat the team that's been winning this whole thing, and I would really like City to get over that hump now. Like, in the past, I've not always been the biggest fan of the way they just kind of bought everything immediately, but now it's like, okay, you've cemented, like, we are a great team. We can dominate our own domestic league, and now it's time for Guardiola, Haaland, De Bruyne, the whole gang to go and win the Champions League, I think.
I think it would be iconic for sure. I think Pep might have God forbid, a heart attack if that happened, but he'd look like a legend if he did, because I've said this since Haaland's joined Man City, since that news broke, that he might be the answer to all of Pep's prayers. Not just him, because there's a lot of amazing players around him, but he is that addition that De Bruyne, if he can play with and start to even get more comfortable together, that is a dream. And I said this last podcast too, for Kevin De Bruyne as a center mid to be able to feed a player like that probably, I don't know, 9 times out of 10 has a solid chance of finishing it. How do you compete against that?
Yeah,
but then Real Madrid has an unbelievable goalkeeper. So I don't know. The conversation keeps going back and forth.
That's the thing too. Like, we never even spoke about Courtois, and like that save he made right at the start of the game, like, made the difference in the game, you could almost say. And maybe that's the difference in the Champions League and why they keep winning. But yeah, to finish it, we both agree Real Madrid is going to win La Liga. I'm going to go with City for Champions League right now until we kind of see the groups, which we're very close of doing. There's only one more step in the Champions League till we get the groups. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited for the Champions League this year. I think it's going to be a fun one.
Okay, perfect. Me too. And again, we get to cover it. So guys, for anything that you might miss, we're kicked back. We got basically all you have to do is kick back, and we do the work, and we have fun, and we get to talk about it, and we want to do it with you guys. So stay tuned for everything. All right, Liam, you want to give us a quick update and maybe predictions on the Prem that we have this weekend. I will be playing in my first pickup football game in, I think, like 8 years. So I hope that when I come back for the episode next week, I'm not in like a cast with severely torn muscles, because knowing me, I'm going to go crazy, but I'm going to channel my inner Hungmin Son.
How are you feeling about the game? Like, how are you feeling about just playing again.
So excited. It's so funny. Mike said to me this morning, which is my husband, he said to me this morning, Caroline, like, I don't know if, we should play. And I'm like, what do you mean we shouldn't play? He goes,
Mike play, sir?
Mike's going to play. And I actually think that if Mike played the sport, he would be professional.
He's a very athletic looking
He is
man,
very athletic. And the guy's never played soccer, and his execution is not normal. He's just one of those people who's very good at everything. So he's playing, but I think he's worried about me because he knows I have no chill. And I think he doesn't want me to get injured. But the good news is he's a physiotherapist. So if I do get injured, I have him to help me out. But this to me is like the World Cup. I'm so excited. I have my cleats ready, my special socks, all my good luck things. So I'll let you know if it's absolutely rubbish, as the English would say, or if I do well. So that'll be next episode.
We'll keep you locked in on Tuesday for that one. I know, like, just quickly, I don't play competitive anymore, and I play in this co-ed pickup every few weeks. And like, when I play, I have so much fun because I don't play every single week now, so it's not as repetitive. And I just think it's like, I miss this so much. But
what position?
I always just play striker.
Nice.
Because I guess I'm like skilled enough to like kind of play it around a little bit. I'm also not in shape enough to play anywhere else anymore.
Stop, you're great. So what player, this is funny, what player do you think you would say your game emulates?
Oh boy. Nowadays, like, I honestly, here's a fun one. I would just go with someone like Danny Ings, who plays for Chelsea, because he literally just tries to score goals. And that's all I try and do. Like, I don't do the dribbling as much anymore. Like, I'm pretty good at my long passes still. Yeah. I got that in me, so Pirlo.
Oh my God, you'd be an absolute baller if you were like Pirlo.
So there you go. I'm Danny Ings and Andre Pirlo. There you go.
That's a pretty good duo if you ask me, right? All right, well, speaking of Chelsea, nice derby coming up this weekend. You want to give everyone the preview?
Yeah, like, I think this is the game of the weekend in the Premier League. Chelsea-Tottenham. Like, it's really... you like having these ones early in the season, but I wish it was just a couple of weeks away when these teams are both kind of in full swing.
Yeah,
and like,
good point.
But it'll be fun right away. Chelsea are going to have to be better than they were against Everton last week. They were not creating chances. Like, I wrote down on this, and I said it the other day on the show, Mason Mount, I didn't know he was playing until he was substituted. Like, he just wasn't involved at all. And for a guy that has the World Cup coming in less than 100 days, like, he's likely going to start for England. He did the Euros anyway. He'll be involved. He needs to get going for Chelsea, and they need to figure out a way for him to be involved. And like, even with Sterling there now, like, you'd think there'd be some chemistry there. Like, they both play for England at the last World Cup and the Euros, and Havertz I didn't think was that involved. And for Chelsea to win this game, like, they've got to have some attack. Against Everton, they got the penalty, and that was kind of it. Like, I think that might have been their only shot on target, to be honest, the whole game. And I said it as well, like, they're probably talented enough to compete with Chelsea, with City and Liverpool, but they just don't push themselves, and it's disappointing. And so that's one thing I have on there. But one thing on the other end of a team who does attack, Tottenham, I'm excited to see their front three go against Thiago Silva and Koulibaly. I think it'll be a real test for both sides to see where the strengths of both teams, like who's more stronger in those positions. And this game, I think it's almost like a battle for third place so early in the season. Like, I do think Tottenham can stick with City and Liverpool for most of the year, but I could also see them tailing off towards the end. I just don't know if they have enough talent yet to kind of put them up there with the two of them, but I like Tottenham to win this one. But one player I wanted to talk about in Tottenham was Ryan Sessegnon.
Okay. Tell us why.
So he's a young player. I think he's only 22, 23. He's been at Tottenham for quite a while now, since he was 18 from Fulham. He scored his first goal against Southampton, and he seems like he's going to be a bit of a presence in this team. I really think he's got a chance to play for England at the World Cup.
Well, every time we're on the show, you kind of name drop guys who are going to be playing for England in the World Cup, and we all know them, but in my mind, where my mind goes to, England has a stacked team.
Yeah, they do. And the one position they're really lacking to know is left back.
Okay.
Like, they have, and this is where Sessegnon plays. He was playing left wing back for Spurs the other day, and it was his first goal he scored for them in the Premier League. And I just think that confidence is going to help him.
Of course,
and
that's huge.
The way he was playing was he was so involved and so aggressive for them. And I really like the way he was on top. Every time he was playing against Kyle Walker-Peters on who used to actually be on Tottenham, I feel like they would have probably gone each other in training every now and then. And he shut him down big time. Like, he had a couple of chances, but for the most part, like, he was right on top of him, aggressive in his tackles. And with Luke Shaw being not so great for United and like Ben Chilwell for Chelsea, is you never know what his health's going to be like. Like, I feel like Sessegnon could really, really put himself in the conversation.
Would you like to see it?
I would love to see it. Okay. I love seeing these young guys break into the England team, and I just think it brings a bit more flair and excitement to the game. Like, these guys have so much to prove. Where like, like Luke Shaw scored the only goal for England in the Euro final, and I just don't know if he's at that level like he was then. So I really think this is an opportunity for Sessegnon to prove against one of England's stars in either Sterling or Mason Mount that he can play against these guys and he can play at that level. And I mean, like, he's playing with Harry Kane, who's the captain of England. Like, you don't think he'd be able to put in a good word for him if you really needed to? Right? Like, so that's the key game for me this weekend in the Premier League. And there's a couple other good ones, but
yeah,
early in the season, like, it's a bit of a treat to have a London derby.
And last season, Chelsea finished 3rd, Tottenham finished 4th. So you know there's just that level of competition, and it being a derby in itself, you know that both teams are going to come, if it's, the second game of the season or it's the second last game of the season, they're going to come out with everything in the tank.
Conte going against his old team in Chelsea as well.
Yeah,
so that's
exactly.
another piece of the layer there.
Have you ever been to a derby?
I have been to Bolton versus Manchester United, which is a derby, and Bolton lost big time. I think it was the final was 4-0.
If you guys were playing United now, you guys would win.
100%. But it was fun. Like, sometimes when you go to those games, you've almost just got to, and this is the way I felt like at the time, I kind of knew they were going to lose, because this was when United had Rooney was playing, Ronaldo, Berbatov, Scholes, Giggs. Like, the list was endless, and it's just, you kind of sat there and you've almost just got to realize what you're watching and appreciate it a little bit. And obviously, you never want to see your team lose. And Bolton have beaten United in the past, and I've been fortunate to witness it mostly on the telly. But it's fun. It's fun to see. And like it's like I said last week when I said United need to be better. Like, I feel like the Premier League is missing a bit of that spice with teams. Like the derbies I grew up with watching the Manchester City and United derby, where they would literally just kick each other for 90 minutes, and even the rivalries of Arsenal United and Chelsea Arsenal as well was a good one too, and I just want to see that come back. I'm looking forward to watching Chelsea and Fulham this year. That's a good derby I kind of enjoy. And the way Fulham played against Liverpool, I feel like they're going to have no hesitation to just try and kick Chelsea off the park if they need to.
I love it. Just quickly going back to you bringing up United made me want to check. So August 22nd, Man United plays Liverpool, and fans are trying to boycott the game.
Right.
So there's been a hashtag going out, #empty Old Trafford, because the fans are like, we're done with the Glazers and we want to boycott the game. We want an empty stadium. Obviously, against a Manchester United Liverpool game is probably one of the best games you could go to.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will mark that one on the calendar, even as a neutral fan. Yeah, and
I'm like, at what point? Like, Man United fans must be at the point of just, we don't give an F and just stop watching the games. That's how frustrated they are.
It's been going on for a while with the Glazers. Like, they made FC United, which was basically just a fan-made team. They were in the old United colours and all this stuff. And I think United fans, I get it, but
relax,
support your team, man.
Chill the hell out.
Your team's in such a bad spot on the field, and I get it off the field, that stuff, but they're not selling the team. I'll tell you right now, the Glazers are not selling the team. It doesn't matter how many people don't go to the game, because even if half of you don't go, the other half will still go, because little Timmy wants to go and watch his favorite team play. And whilst you're all protesting outside of Old Trafford wearing your brand new Manchester United shirts, which you did last week whilst you're all carrying around that Glazers out banner, that isn't helping either. Like, if you don't want to go, fine, but I just don't think it's going to work. And as someone whose team was literally hours away from going out of existence, just appreciate it. Just appreciate that you have a club. Like, Barry fans probably want to go and watch their team play now, and they can't because they don't exist.
That's so well said. I'm already imagining how well that's going to do on social media. Liam talking to the people of Manchester. And we'll see how that goes over. But
yeah, I guess
you're right, though. You're absolutely right. And again, the way we said this last, like on our show, that the way a season starts can be very different than the way the season ends. If we are midway through the season and this is happening, you know what? I'm with United fans. But right now, just, take it easy. Breathe.
I will say one thing on United, and you won't like this. You might. They won't. Manchester United are an average team with a big stadium right now.
I feel it's a very accurate statement.
I heard that on a podcast the other day, and I'm going to take credit for it. But it was just like, I never thought of it that way, because I always think United is like, they're a massive team. They're up there with Real Madrid as like on a brand level.
Yeah, they're iconic.
Huge. They are. They have so much history. But right now, they're not that team anymore. And you got to support the players. Like, losing 2-1 to Brighton isn't as embarrassing as everybody made it seem. They're a good team. You're just as good as them.
I think they're frustrated. I think that's what's happening. It's frustration. And
I think if it wasn't the first game of the season, it wouldn't have been blown out of proportion like it was. But everyone made it seem like the world had ended. We spoke about it with Was. There was a lot of positives to take away. This week you play Brentford away from home.
This game's huge. I was just about to say, if they lose this game and it's a painful game to watch, I actually think #empty Old Trafford might be a situation.
Yeah, then maybe we're having a different conversation next week. But I just think they'll win. Like, I don't know. Sometimes you need that, right? Sometimes you need a bit of a wake-up call. Like, even Ten Hag, like I said it, like the Eriksen playing striker was weird. Maybe this week he just changes it up. Like, he's seen what this team is now. Like, he knows McTominay and Fred aren't the players that they were in preseason. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to do this, and this team's going to be different.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Like, we'll see. We'll see what happens on Saturday.
I'd love Cristiano Ronaldo to come out and score a hat-trick.
I would too. I just don't want to hear it. Like, I'll be honest. I just am so tired of talking about United for the last 3 years. Like,
actually, I love that take because it's true. It's about them. If they're at the top, if they're at the bottom, if they're in the slums, if there's drama, if there's no drama, it's always they're the main character of the Premier League.
100%, and rightfully so.
Yeah,
they've earned that spot. But there's a lot of other good games going on this weekend. Brighton Newcastle's a great one. Arsenal Leicester will be really fun. I guess quickly, I'll talk about the other two I wanted to
go ahead.
So Nottingham Forest, first Premier League game since 1999. So I actually did do research on this one. Mm-hmm. Last Premier League win. This is, okay, so when they were in the Premier League in 1999, they finished last. They got relegated.
Okay.
Their last game of the season and the last home game they won 1-0 against Leicester. Chris Bart Williams scored the only goal that game. So that season, they won 7 games total. I believe they had 9 draws and however many losses that is. So this feels like a very, a suffering season. They had 2 wins in their first 3 games. That's really good. Keep in mind they had 7 all season. They then had 3 in a row to end the season. So they had between August and late April, they had 2 wins in that entire gap.
Oh my goodness.
I hope, Nottingham Forest fans, that you have a much better season. You don't have to go through that much suffering again. And I think you will. And if I was a betting man, which I am, I would put my money on Forest winning this weekend against West Ham.
Okay.
I think just the momentum of being at home, we saw it last week with Bournemouth beating Aston Villa, which is the next team I want to talk to. I think they'll get it done.
I hope not.
You hope not?
I want West Ham to be the dark horse.
I like West Ham too. And I like David Moyes because I think he was really good when he was at Everton. He got a raw deal at Manchester United, like every manager has through there. But after this, West Ham have Brighton at home, Aston Villa, Tottenham, Chelsea, and Newcastle. That is an incredibly hard.
Pretty average.
And then you put on there that they already played City, playing Forest in their first Premier League home game since 1999. Like, that is a difficult task. But I'm still backing Forest.
But you think they're up for it?
I think if West Ham won, I wouldn't be shocked at all. They have a great team. But I don't know. I got that feeling about Forest. Last week, maybe a bit of stage fright. They're going to look at that tape and they're like, okay, we can't do this, this, and this, but this was good, this was good, this was good. Forest have a good enough goalie. Jesse Lingard's good. They got a bunch of other good players too. I'm excited for this game. I think this is actually one I'll key in on over the weekend. And the last one I wanted to talk about, and I texted you last night and said I might go on a bit of a rant about Steven Gerrard.
Please. We love Steven Gerrard rants.
I'm going to hold it until next. No?
The anticipation.
Okay.
You can if you... does this rant, is it better if it's before the matches this weekend or after?
I'll just do it.
Do it. Go ahead.
Because I
Talk to the
feel
people.
like either way, it's not going to be what I hope. So I think Steven Gerrard is coming quickly overrated as a manager, and I think...
I love how you just put in as a manager. I'm like, for a second, I'm like, wait, what do you mean as a player?
As a player, he is one of the best England midfielders ever.
Okay, good. Sorry, continue.
So he has a 10. He won 10 games in 29 Aston Villa manager. And since he took over, I believe it was November 11th or something like that last year. The teams he's beat Brighton twice, Crystal Palace, Leicester, Norwich twice, Everton, Southampton, Leeds, and Burnley twice.
Right.
Leicester is the only good team in that group. He just can't beat the top 6. And this season, Aston Villa, like people are talking about them like making Europe and all this stuff. I just don't see it at all. Like I just don't see Gerrard as a good enough manager yet to get them over the hump. They have only won 2 of their last, I believe it was 12 games or something like that. And those wins came against Norwich and Burnley, who both got relegated last season. I just think for how much money he spent, which is just south of 74 million since he got there, he needs to be better as a manager. And this weekend, I didn't even realize this at first, but we have Gerrard versus Lampard.
Oh, sick.
In Villa versus Everton, which is a huge game for both teams.
Love it.
I do think Aston Villa will come out on top.
Okay.
And if they don't, they've just lost to 2 teams who are likely in a relegation battle this season. And if that's the case, like, should we not be considering them for one of the relegation battle teams? I don't think so, because I think their team should be more talented than that. But I think Gerrard could be one of the names that gets sacked first.
That'd be crazy. But in your opinion, what does Gerrard need to do to become a better manager, at least this season?
I think Coutinho was invisible against Bournemouth. He was, and like this guy's played for Barcelona. He's played for Liverpool. Like he's played at World Cups.
Honest to God, it was crazy what happened with him.
Yeah,
he should have never left Liverpool.
Never,
ever.
And I would like to see them just have a more attacking threat to the team. Like I feel like they do a lot with the ball, but their execution is so poor. And like they have Danny Ings, they have Leon Bailey, Coutinho, Jacob Ramsey's a really good midfielder as well, and the talent is there for them to be a European team, but I don't know if the manager is the right guy to get them to that.
I love that.
Yet.
Well, that's why I think Zinedine Zidane goes down as iconic in that role, because he was one of the best footballers we've ever seen play. And then he goes into a coaching position, and didn't he win 3 titles in a row?
3 Champions Leagues,
for Real Madrid. So he's iconic in that sense. It's not easy for a player to go into a coaching position, and even though they were successful in their playing career, find success as a manager.
Yeah.
I mean, even Maradona, to me, is the greatest of all time, unless Messi is able to win the World Cup in Qatar. When he coached the Argentinian national team, it was a disaster.
It was a disaster.
He played with like no back line.
Yeah. It was truly something to behold.
It's interesting how it works out, but hopefully Gerrard...
I want him to.
Yeah,
I want him to have success.
I like him. He's a nice guy. Didn't he also want to help Liverpool last season? Didn't he say he's going to do everything he can?
Because their last game of the season was against Manchester City.
Yes.
And they were winning 2-0. And within 5 minutes, it was 3-2 City and City won the league.
remember that.
It was crazy. So that would have been an iconic win for them.
I remember that, because I think Liverpool at that point in time was losing.
They were drawing 1-1 with Wolves, because Wolves scored in like the first 3 minutes of the game.
I checked the Aston Villa game, and I'm like, oh my God, they can do it. And then, City just completely... Just
did City.
Disregarded them.
Did what they did.
Yes, I remember that. But I love Gerrard for that. I love that he has the ability to kind of take a step back and be like, Liverpool's where I had some of the biggest success, and I respect the fan base and I respect the club, and I'm going to do everything I can to help to win. Too bad they couldn't get it done. But that would have been, I remember watching that now. I'm nostalgic. I'm like, that would have been the craziest thing we've seen in a while.
It was an iconic Premier League moment for sure. On Gerrard, I have 2 final things.
Okay.
He's capable of it. I would like to add that. he did it at Rangers. He won the league with them, ending Celtic's run. I think it was 9 straight or whatever it was. Like, he's capable of being magic and getting Villa to the next level. These are their next few games. So they have Everton this weekend, which is the early game. Then they have Crystal Palace away, which will be tough.
Okay.
West Ham, Arsenal, Manchester City, Leicester, and then I would say that next winnable game is Southampton, which is 7 games away.
So they got to get cracking here.
They got to get some results. They have to beat Everton this week.
Okay.
They have to. And then you have Palace away, which would be tough. And then you have West Ham, Arsenal, City.
Well, we'll definitely talk about that on Tuesday then.
Yes, we have to. We
have to.
And if they win, then we're having a different conversation.
Who's your dark horse in the Premier League this year? Did you say it last show?
Newcastle. I don't think they'll win the league by any means, but I really do think they'll do well. I like Brighton, and I like Leeds.
Okay.
I feel like they did enough business and made it Jesse Marsh's team that they can have a good mid-table finish, which is good for them considering they almost got relegated last season. So I think we'll see the Leeds from 2 years ago when they came to the Premier League rather than the Leeds from last season, which almost left the Premier League.
Love it. Well, guys, a lot of amazing games this weekend in the Premier League across Serie A too. Just, check out all fixtures and matches that you can possibly. The ones that you can't watch, I'm sure we'll cover on the show. We'll be back next Tuesday and Thursday giving you all the latest and greatest in the football world. And yeah, that's it. Liam, don't ever get a coffee with an espresso.
Lesson learned.
That's a wrap for another episode of Kicked Back, and thanks so much for listening. You can catch Caroline and Liam here every single week on Tuesdays and Thursdays to give you the latest rundown on all things football. Please don't forget to subscribe and give us a nice 5-star rating. Please and thank you. And for even more Kicked Back content, follow the 90th Minute on all your favorite social channels. See you next time.